Welcome back to the Mouse and Men, where we explore the grown-up side of Disney. Find us online at themouseandmen.com, where you can find links to our social media profiles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also find us on YouTube, where we broadcast the podcast. You can find our new blog, TMAM Digest. Just scroll to the bottom, you'll see a big old button for the digest. I am Bradley. I'm here with my co-caster, Chris. Chris, welcome back.
Hey, man. I'm excited to be back. And it's summertime. This is a perfect topic for some summertime chats around. If you're going to be watching the TV anyway, might as well watch one of the best things to come out of American culture, world culture, in the world. Like talking about SharkFest over on NatGeo this week.
I love sharks. It's, SharkFest is happening on Disney Plus and NatGeo. We'll get into what all's available. Maybe if you're going to the beach soon, don't watch a lot of this stuff. Although it doesn't stop me from getting in the water, but that's just me. But yes, we're talking about sharks, all things sharks, everything sharks. No baby sharks. But yeah, don't go there. Now having a nearly 2-year-old in the house, I hear that way too much. But yeah, SharkFest on NatGeo and Disney Plus. Really exciting. I'm watching everything I can. So let's just dive right in. Chris, I know, let's talk about this one first. Mm-hmm. Shark Beach with Chris Hemsworth. I watched it. I know you're about halfway through. Just the premise is Chris Hemsworth, not Chris Murphy, grew up in Australia surfing, and all along the east coast of Australia, there's this route that great whites take. Every year they migrate up, I guess, when the water, in the wintertime, they migrate north to warmer waters, and then they migrate south when the water's, I guess, just for different hunting ground. But now with warmer waters all year, they're kind of just hanging out just off the beach along the East Coast, and they're seeing just more shark sightings, maybe some more attacks, but they're trying to figure out what's going on and how can we keep people safe and how can we keep sharks safe. But Chris Hemsworth does a great job hosting this special.
He's just so captivating to look at, to listen to, period. I mean, no wonder the guy was cast as Thor, because like if you just compare him to everybody else on the screen, he always looks like an Adonis. Again, just that deep voice, his looks, those rugged good looks. He's one of the most fit people that you'll find, regardless, look through any weightlifting magazine or compare him to anybody else. And this is not just a fly-by-night movie star that's just in it for a quick buck. Like the guy, he's fit, he's great, he's charismatic, and he also loves being outdoors, and especially the way that he talks about his love of surfing and going to the beach from an early age. He's captivating to watch. And so to hear him talk about that from a place of conservation, it's really, really interesting to hear as well, because I love it that it's not just him showing off for the camera that he also surfs, or that he has had an encounter with a shark here or there, even in a confined space. You can tell that the conservation part of it is very important to him as well. And so it's been an amazing watch so far. And again, this is one of my favorite times of year, just to watch and have shark stuff going on in the background, because as you and I know from something like Discovery Channel that has Shark Week, Disney Plus has stretched it out into a whole month. So we have so much good content that we can watch, shark themed content for this time of year. It's a great time to just have it going on in the background, or really diving in and concentrating on each of these episodes that Disney Plus has now released.
Yeah, that's a great point. Discovery does Shark Week, and it's an entire week of shark programming from I mean, I think it's just 24 hours a day. Then NatGeo, what they've been doing is showing new content on the weekend. So they've stretched it out to a month. What I read was there's 21 hours worth of new content this year for SharkFest.
Wow.
And so they put it all up on Disney Plus. And kind of the crowning jewel seemed to be this Shark Beach with Chris Hemsworth, which I have to think is kind of whetting our appetite for Limitless with Chris Hemsworth, another Nat Geo thing that they announced at the Disney Investor Day. And I gotta say, this Shark Beach is getting me ready for Limitless. I cannot wait. Watching this, I realize Hemsworth is just a great host, great narrator, as they say. But when I saw that pop up, I said, "Ooh, shark stuff." I'm gonna dive in deep, pun intended, into the shark content. So I watched this. My wife just started watching it as well. She's like, "This is great." We watched Mega Hammerhead, which I didn't know a whole lot about hammerhead sharks other than they look weird, but that head actually makes them a better predator. So when their eyes are way out here on the sides of that thing, and they just kind of they sway their head back and forth more than most sharks, but it gives them pretty much 360-degree vision. Plus that big wide snout. Sharks use some sort of electric sensing nodes or something. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but they can sense the electrical signal that all living things give off. But because their head is so wide, they've got basically a bigger satellite dish, so they can sense things better than other sharks. And then it's like a spoiler on the back of a car, so it can help them dive quickly, rise quickly. They can turn sharply, banking their head. Hammerheads are so cool.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Then there's Great Shark Chowdown, where there was a whale. Was it a blue whale or something? One of those big whales that died, and the carcass washed up on shore. So they decide to strap these floats to it and drag it out to sea, because nature just kind of has its way with this stuff. But sharks come up and just start chomping at it. They just wanted to see what the sharks would do. And so the smaller, I think it was tiger sharks, maybe at first, were going after it, and then they kind of disappear, and the bigger sharks come in. You're talking great whites and things, but kind of just all of a sudden, all the sharks disappear, and then the bigger sharks come in. So there is a pecking order of, if there's a bigger shark, you get out of the way.
Wow.
And then they sink the carcass after a while, because storm's coming in. But that's when all the bottom dwelling fish and sharks go after it. Most wanted sharks. These are particular sharks that have been in more documentaries, more photographed than any others. It's just cool getting to hear their different stories. I love all these. Chris is showing the previews on our YouTube video from Disney Plus. Most Wanted Sharks is really fun, getting to know each shark on a personal level, talking about where they got different scars and different things. And then those four things: Shark Beach, Most Wanted Sharks, Great Shark Chowdown, Mega Hammerhead are the four that I've watched over the last week. There's also Journey to Shark Eden and Sharks of Lost Island that I've watched. They were already up, so I've watched them before. It's all great. I wasn't sure, growing up, quote unquote, growing up, I didn't have cable growing up. But seeing some of this Shark Week stuff on Discovery, Mike Rowe is always narrating those, wondering, okay, what's the Nat Geo stuff going to be like? It's fantastic. It's really great. So I've really enjoyed what's on Disney Plus under the Nat Geo section. There's tons of stuff there. We've talked about Wild Russia, a lot of the National Park series. That's all under the Nat Geo banner. All great stuff right there at your fingertips to watch.
Yeah, you have educated me recently on the SharkFest that Nat Geo is holding under Disney Plus, because in my head, I've always thought Shark Week was a Discovery thing, and that's where it ended. That, like, if you're going to watch the shark stuff, it's like 1 week in the summertime over on the Discovery Channel. And when you were like, "Hey, let's do an episode on SharkFest," I was like, "Cool. Hold on, wait a second. Disney doesn't own Discovery. How are we going to do that?" But then I saw, like, look at all this. Like, yeah, like
it is so much stuff.
So much stuff, and all shark based, and like the coolest names in the world. Like when you were naming them a second ago, like Mega Head Shark, or Mega Hammerhead, and Sharkano, and Sharks of Lost Island. The best names in the world, but they're always great. And now, again, this could have been going on for years. I am new to the shark the shark documentaries that Nat Geo has. Again, I'm trying to keep them all in context here. But yeah, everything that I've seen so far has been great. And so much stuff that I can't wait to dive into. So I'm pumped with all of these, and just hours and hours and hours of shark related material.
Yeah. Well, and as we were talking leading up to this show about, just the quality of stuff that Nat Geo is putting out on their channel that's also being distributed on Disney Plus, Walt Disney started a nature series decades ago. And that kind of paved the way for all of these nature documentary format things, where you're following one animal and telling their story, which probably paved way to channels like Nat Geo and Discovery. So once again, it kind of all comes back to Walt and his storytelling. And that's just really cool how this one person influenced enough of entertainment and edutainment that now we have multiple channels. I think there are multiple Discovery channels. There may be multiple Nat Geo channels, because there may be Discovery and Nat Geo Kids as well. But there's just a lot of stuff out there, and being able to access all this Nat Geo stuff on Disney Plus is just awesome and fascinating. And I can't wait to go scuba diving with sharks. I just want to do it. Or just put me in a cage. Let's go.
Man, just thinking about the idea that Nat Geo, when I first heard that Nat Geo was going to be a part of Disney Plus, I thought, okay, so I get Marvel and Star Wars and Pixar and Disney movies, like the princess movies and those types of things, and even the Disney Channel stuff, like the teenage type shows, the Mickey Mouse Clubs and the Austin and Alleys and Gravity Falls and all these things. They all made sense. Nat Geo, to me, when I first heard about it, I was like, interesting that they're going to put it as a part of Disney Plus, because it doesn't necessarily seem to fall in line of everything else that Disney is premiering on Disney Plus. But now, thinking out of it through that lens, with the influence that Walt Disney had decades and decades ago, going back to the 40s and 50s, he was kind of one of the pioneers, like you're saying, of making those types of nature documentaries or biographies. If you look in if you look in the parks or look at what he's done on film, conservation, nature, like informing us in an edutainment type of way, whether it was a figure from the past or a type of species out there that we don't get to see. Like Disney was one of the leaders years and years ago, before it was a popular format or before there were all these channels. And so it really does make sense if you're going to put everything under the edutainment, education, entertainment banner of Disney Plus. Nat Geo has a very comfortable home within what Disney has already been putting out for generations at this point. And so it makes a lot more sense when I look at it in the context of as a whole of what Disney is, and not just are you comparing Nat Geo with Marvel and Star Wars. It certainly does fall in line. Even, going back 20 plus years now with the opening of Animal Kingdom, that didn't, in my head, it didn't seem to make a lot of sense when I first heard about it. But then knowing the history with the Disney company and Walt Disney in particular around conservation, history, education, animals, parts of the world that we can't often find ourselves in, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, and it really fits into that, the whole idea of creating the Animal Kingdom park, because like you said, it's the animals, it's the conservation, it's nature. It all fits so well together with Nat Geo. It can kind of have its own brand, just like Marvel has its own brand, Star Wars has its own brand. If you get into it, you can even see the difference between Disney animation and Pixar as well. So, that kind of gives you your header there on Disney Plus. You've got Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Nat Geo. It's all right there, ready to go. At first Nat Geo seemed like the fifth wheel, just tagging along. But especially after SharkFest, it's really showing it's not a little brother. It is here, ready to do dirty work, ready to do heavy bidding, and they knocked it out of the park. Can't wait to see what keeps coming out. Like I said, Limitless with Chris Hemsworth. Shark Beach is just getting me ready for that. I want to see, I don't know, he's like doing polar bear plunges in the Arctic or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what they cover.
Yeah. And again, with that particular thing, got the same name of the 2011 movie with Bradley Cooper. And then I think it was a TV series from 2015 to 2016. I think it had, 20, 30 episodes, something like that. This is not that. This is a standalone, basically reality reality documentary series starring Chris Hemsworth, where he goes and tries to push the limits of human performance in crazy situations, like you're saying, the polar bear plunge in the Arctic, or surfing and having like a full bodysuit on versus just surfing in the Arctic in freezing temperatures, those kinds of things. So that's exciting, and it's a Nat Geo show. Like, this is going to be its own standalone thing, but under the Nat Geo banner, just like the SharkFest is as well. So even some cross promotion there with his Marvel and Thor stuff, that he's doing his own Nat Geo nature show documentary kind of thing is exciting as well. So again, I'm pumped for all of this stuff, and we've dedicated full episodes before to Nat Geo shows, as well as plussings we've done of Nat Geo stuff. And so it's as if, like, you and me, the men in the Mouse and Men kind of criteria, that Nat Geo is a part of Disney Plus that we go and refer to and are entertained by as much as all the other ones as well. Because I feel like that if you were to put up a ratio of the times that we've talked about Disney Plus offerings, and it been Nat Geo information or stuff that we've watched versus all the other four, I think that Nat Geo is probably 50% of what you and I find ourselves going to get excited about and watching, whether it's, Limitless with Chris Hemsworth, or The World According to Jeff Goldblum, or all these nature documentaries. We've done a lot of talking over the past year of stuff that's specifically on Nat Geo. So bring it on, baby. Continue to bring it on.
Yeah. So if you want to explore the grown-up side of Disney, start with Disney Plus and Nat Geo, because there is a lot of stuff there that is really great. It keeps you learning, keeps you exploring. And you mentioned, we've been talking about Nat Geo quite a bit over the last year. I totally missed it. This is episode 53. Episode 52 was last week, and if we've released an episode a week, last week was our 1 year anniversary. So, Chris, happy anniversary! It's
happy anniversary to you too, Bradley.
Yeah, the first cut is the deepest. The first year is the longest, but what a blast it's been. And one of the things that I've loved over the last year is doing our plussing segments. So let's get to this week's plussing. So we mentioned it last week. We also, if you're on our email list, you heard about it there as well. But we have a new section called the Digest. TMAM stands for the Mouse and Men. TMAM Digest. It is blog posts relating to each of these episodes. We're going back and for each episode writing a blog post. So maybe you don't have the 30, 35, 45, sometimes hour, 60 minutes to listen to our podcast, but you still want to kind of keep up with what's going on. The Digest is where you can do that. Just a couple minutes. You can read or skim what we're covering. Sometimes we have fun information on there that we don't include in the show, including this last week. I slipped in an article on some of the things that I am loving on Disney Plus. It included some of this shark stuff. It also included that my son really loves dogs. We go on walks and he can point out a dog from 6 houses away. So I've been showing him Lady and the Tramp, the original, 101 Dalmatians, the original, of course, Bolt for a newer Disney movie. A lot of that, watching a lot of other stuff as well, but it's just, what have I been enjoying on Disney Plus? It's right there. So go to themouseandmen.com and scroll down to the bottom. There's a big button for the Digest. Go check it out. Chris, I know you're working on your article about when you cheated on Disney and going to Universal and throwing some stuff in there as well for our viewers. So go check that out over on themouseandmen.com.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that we often spend our plussing time talking about something that you can probably go watch on Nat Geo or something like that. And now we talked about a whole episode dealing with Nat Geo, and then we're leaving the plussing side to talk about how we try to engage more people. So I like it. It's like one of those mystery things where all the things kind of interloop and turn back into each other.
Yeah, it is some sort of Marvel ninja. There's supposed to be another Doctor Strange in the multiverse. All these different things kind of colliding all at once. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big knot of goodness, a big knot of fun.
Yeah. So while you're over on themouseandmen.com, be sure to get our top 10 things for grown-ups to do in Walt Disney World. We're hopefully seeing the end of this pandemic. Hopefully things are going to just continue returning to normal. And so we'll have more stuff to talk about from not at home. But when you're at home, check out Disney Plus. When you're going to Walt Disney World, check out our top 10 things for grown-ups to do. Get that over at themouseandmen.com, where you can also find links to all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as well as YouTube. Lots of stuff there. Thank you for hanging out with us for the last year. This is the beginning of year 2. And what a great way with sharks. I love sharks. I have gotten to pet, I think it was nurse sharks. I always thought, oh, look at their skin. It's all, it's so shiny and probably smooth, and it feels like sandpaper. totally different than what I expected. But got to pet nurse sharks a couple years ago. Getting off on a tangent. But anyways, just want to encourage you. You don't want to grow up too fast.
But whether you're on Disney Plus or in the parks itself, you got to keep exploring.
I love sharks.
Dude, this is great. Yeah. Dude, I got to say that like Liam Hemsworth, handsome devil, handsome guy. The third Hemsworth brother, attractive in his own right. I'd call him cute. But darn it if Chris Hemsworth is not like no wonder he plays Thor, because that dude is just, he's so charismatic. He's got that deep voice. He's got like one of the best bodies in the world. Just like, leave some for the rest of us, Hemsworth. Cool,
Time
man.
flies when you never leave the house. Man, I think I had a weird dream about Thunder Thighs last night. And I wish I remember what it was about, but because I did, I forgot to send it yesterday. I sent the email today about last week's episode. Please.
Behind the scenes content you can't get anywhere else.
And Disney Archives at
Disney.
Graceland.
Oh, we got to figure out when we can do this.
I'm getting goosed.